good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone. Thank you very much for joining us. So this is the final in a series of seminars celebrating 10 years of the collaboration of aphasia trialists. So I'm sure you're all aware of what the collaboration of aphasia trialists, or CATS, is, but just in case, there is a website where you're more than welcome to join if you're not a member. CATS has been going for 10 years, and what it has developed into is a series of working groups that have different areas of focus. So, for instance, cognition in aphasia, treatment effectiveness, predicting outcomes, large data sets, psychosocial functions and reintegration. But also we have a number of teams who work on particular areas that improve the quality of research and its dissemination. So today we're really fortunate to have this team. So John Pearce, Emma Finch, Annalisa Pais, Carol Dow-Richards and David Powell, who've been working on how research can be shared with the aphasia community through video. So I'll pass over to John. If anyone has any questions during the talks, if you just want to put them in chat, and we'll see if we have time at the end to go through them. But I'll pass over now to John. Thanks, John.
Thanks, Dave. And I know many people will be watching this recording. Apologies that the time didn't suit everyone. At this time of year, Emma and I decided we couldn't countenance a late night, and I can never handle early mornings. So it's a suitable time in Australia, but perhaps not everywhere. Yeah, thanks for the invitation. We're really excited to talk about this, which is, I guess, a collection of projects that have happened over the last few years and sort of through CATS. I've just put on this title slide the people actually talking today, but there's huge teams behind each aspect. So we're going to kick off today talking about why video abstracts matter, and I guess the dissemination of aphasia research, which may be well understood by CATS members, but still important to think about. Then we'll be talking, Annalisa will be talking about CATS and ARC teaming up to disseminate these videos to people with aphasia. Then we'll be talking about a funded project with a real how-to guide on how to make one type of aphasia-friendly research video. And finally, a project that kind of spawned from this, Emma will be talking about a research looking at the preferences of people with aphasia for research videos. So starting off, we've got a recording from David Dow and Carol. And let me know if you can't hear this.
Aphasia research matters. I'm David. I had a massive stroke when I was 10 in 1995. I am the co-founder of the Aphasia Recovery Connection. I had global aphasia. Thanks to aphasia research and dedicated therapists, I can talk quite well now. I can read and write again. Understanding the results of aphasia research is important to people with aphasia.
It can help people make decisions about the treatment. It can help people find important resources. It can help prioritize their goals rather than feeling unsure. Research can help people understand the broad scope of aphasia and its impact. Research validates their experience. It may encourage people with aphasia to try new approaches.
Sharing research with aphasia-friendly videos gives people with aphasia access to information that they need. Thank you for sharing your research. Research helps people like me, people with aphasia. Thank you.
On behalf of those who are family members like me, Thank you for your vision, commitment, and passion for aphasia research. We are grateful for the impactful work done by aphasia researchers from around the world. Thank you.
So it just really outlined why this is important, and I think we all know it, but hearing from two people who have experienced aphasia in a way that no research or clinician really can is really impactful. So next, Annalise is going to talk about ARC, Aphasia Recovery Connection, which was founded by David and Carol, teaming up with CATS to disseminate these videos.
Hello, season's greetings to everyone. I hope everyone's doing well. So I'm just going to give you a quick overview of the CATS Facebook team activities. I'm just waiting for my presentation to start showing and loading. Slideshow. All right, so I'm just going to give you a quick introduction to the CATS for Facebook team for those of you who aren't familiar with it. Give you a quick rundown of the team activities, and then talk about the CATS YouTube channel, which might be new to some of you, or an update for those of you who are familiar with it. So who we are, so we formed the Facebook team, which is part of the wider dissemination team within the collaboration of aphasia trialists. So here's just various members of our team. Oops, I just realized that that's there. So we've got myself and Emma, Asansa, Marina, Carol Richards, who is our Aphasia Recovery Connection cooperation partner, and John Pierce, who has been very actively involved with the CATS Facebook team, but isn't no more part of the Facebook team because of his other commitments as well. So just kind of giving you an introduction to what our activities are. A lot of our ongoing and continuing activities over the past few years include sharing information, kind of on a rotating roster about various CATS activities, aphasia research, various conferences that are happening, as well as resources, both on our CATS Facebook page, as well as occasionally through the YouTube channel, where they are in a aphasia-friendly video format. We have two CATS YouTube channels that we frequently update. One is for people with aphasia, their families, and their family members, and then the other one is for researchers primarily, but also for aphasia clinicians. And this video kind of presents an ideal format for disseminating information to people with aphasia and their families, particularly for people at 6 months post-stroke and after, as well as with the increasing move within the research world to disseminate research information to consumers and participants, and kind of creating video abstracts and summaries to accompany research journals. This sharing of aphasia-friendly and accessible aphasia research through a video medium has largely been our focus. So we also do a range of other seasonal activities, such as during Aphasia Awareness Month in June, as well as in the last year, we've shared a lot of content emerging from the CATS 10-year anniversary celebrations. So this included the CATS 10-year anniversary webinar series, which was shared via the YouTube channel for researchers. And then we had the 10 reasons to join CATS, which was shared both on the same YouTube channel as well as the CATS Facebook page. We will also soon be resuming our previous activity of inviting aphasia researchers to create videos for people with aphasia about their research. And part of this involves inviting video productions based on client-initiated topics, or that the Aphasia Recovery Connection has been actively involved in. And finally, having completed a qualitative research project led by Emma Finch, which was to understand people with aphasia's preferences for aphasia research video abstracts. We have since published this and shared the results through various platforms, as we are also doing today. And just a plug there to say, if anyone would like to join the CATS Facebook team, it is a lovely small team, but we do really nice work. Please contact Jacqueline if you are interested in joining us. And so that was about our team and an overview of our activities. And I'm just going to quickly run you through our YouTube channel. So as I said earlier, we have 2 YouTube channels. So there's one which is for researchers primarily. So this is what that page looks like. We have bits of the anniversary series, 10 reasons to join CATS, as well as other videos on aphasia research methodology, aphasia research advances, and so on. So these are the various playlists. We have some aphasia-friendly sessions from IARC last year. We will hopefully be doing the same again for IARC 2024. We have some with the anniversary playlist. We have a playlist for implementation science, as well as for aphasia trials methodology. And then we have our CATS video channel for people with aphasia and their families, which is called Aphasia Answers from CATS and ARC. So here we have some introductory videos. We have videos on new research findings and abstracts. The research shared is usually systematic reviews, a quantitative meta-analysis that has been published in a peer-reviewed journal. So these are abstracts of that, as well as various RCTs, and then qualitative research that has been published in various peer-reviewed journals that have aphasia-friendly abstracts have also been shared on this channel. We also have some videos on aphasia awareness. So we have various responses to what is aphasia that has been shared by people with aphasia as well, that are also on this channel. So these are our various playlists. This is an example of some of our seasonal activities. This was done for Aphasia Awareness Month. And then finally, kind of going back to some of the sharing of research that has come, the sharing and dissemination and publications that has come out from this team that Emma and John are talking to you about today as well, is about preferences of people with post-stroke aphasia for aphasia research videos. So that is just some photos of the wider team. So that is all from me today. Thank you very much. And let me just stop sharing and stop the recording.
And there's a excuse me, a QR code to the aphasia friendly YouTube channel. So you can see it's a great team. It's not just a Facebook team that reposts things, that there's actually a lot of active work going on. So with that sharing of aphasia friendly videos and actually approaching researchers and asking them to create video abstracts about particular topics that were raised by people with aphasia, through that process, I think it became apparent that not researchers knew how to make an aphasia friendly video. And so this project was commissioned and funded by the Tavistock Trust for Aphasia. And you can see that there's a broader team there, and we worked on this project to create an education package. So there's lots of different ways to do an aphasia-friendly summary of research in video form. The first is kind of a PowerPoint style where there are animations or visuals and text. The next is an interview. So this example is Linda Worrell being interviewed by Carol Dow Richards. The simplest way is, to start recording and take a kind of selfie video and explain your research. I guess depending how you do that, that's probably the least likely to be accessible to someone with aphasia. And then, of course, you can use professional software like Maya Menahemi-Falkhoff did. I think she used Powtoon to create hers, and that's a good result too. There's just a cost involved. So this package we developed is more aimed at this kind of PowerPoint style with a monologue narration rather over the top, but just to point out that there are other approaches. And Emma will talk about which of those is preferred later on. So this package, we've just updated the link because I think it wasn't working on the CATS site, but it contains 5 elements. One is the kind of manual, which is developing aphasia-friendly video abstract, and it contains the rationale and explanations of the various steps. And I'll basically be skimming over some of these steps and details today, but there's a lot more detail in that manual. It also contains PowerPoint tips. So we recommend the use of PowerPoint because most researchers are familiar with it, and it is a good way you can get pretty professional results from it. So we've got tricks for how to kind of crop images, animate things, etc. There's a template that you could use to start your own video abstract if you wish. It's kind of set up for it. There's an example of an abstract that became a PowerPoint, a PowerPoint that became a video abstract, and just so you can see how it works. And then there's a template to create the storyboard, which is a step we recommend. So I'm going to whiz through these steps today. And the 5 steps are to write a script, draft a storyboard, compile the presentation, record the narration, and then assuming you're submitting it with a journal and not just publishing it kind of unofficially and submitting. First of all, writing a script, and this seems like an extra step that you don't need to do because, you know, academics, we can write, we can talk on the fly. This will stop you, though, saying too much, which we all do. You know, I think I'm great at aphasia-friendly communication, and then when I watched the recording back, I was like, those sentences were so long and I said so much. So this is a good way of really narrowing down and actually reducing the amount of work you end up with, because you will say less and you will say it more cleanly. So we recommend not trying to entice people to read the article, particularly in the case of aphasia friendly, but for any video abstract, it's not a teaser trailer and you don't want to be kind of saying like a blurb on a book or something, read the article to find out more. You want to put it all out there. This is the results we found and this is what it might mean. Once you've got this script, you can go through and double check that you're aphasia friendly. I think we've all got this temptation that if we just bold a few words, it's aphasia friendly, but actually we need to look at the vocabulary. And so go through this because we know how to do this, but it gives you time to make sure you're not using any or assuming any knowledge about particular words. It's pretty clear from people with aphasia that they want to know, what does this mean for me? Sometimes that's really easy. Sometimes your research is, you know, we want to hedge it because it's inconclusive. So it's probably okay to say what this might mean if it's replicated. Would mean the results are confirmed. And then having your script, it means you can check the readability. This website's great. You can plug in some text and it will highlight, it will give you your Flesch Kincaid score. And it will also point out why it's gotten that. So it will say this sentence is too long, this word's, you know, low frequency. It will actually take you through it, which is really useful. It becomes a game of trying to get that rating down. So then step 2 would be drafting a storyboard. Again, this can seem like an additional step and kind of just open PowerPoint and start adding images. But when we do that, I think the temptation is to just grab whatever image. Whereas when you start from the ground up with a storyboard, it actually encourages you to ensure that each image is matched exactly to the narration. Because anything that's not matched exactly to the narration, it becomes distracting for someone with, you know, a stroke survivor. So sometimes, again, it's easy to come up with visuals. Other times you're talking about something a bit abstract. So a good way to kind of work through what should be on it. One thing to ask yourself is, what would I draw if I was explaining this to someone? What kind of shapes, figures, diagrams would I use? And then can you create some visuals out of that? So as I said, there's a storyboard template in that package, but essentially it's just a table. You're just kind of sketching out ideally what image do you want and where for each line of text, for each line of the narration. You could also consider what gestures do you naturally use. If you're a gesturing type person, you might be talking about two things and you might be kind of spatially organizing left and right. Well, maybe that's a good way to put it on your slides. Or maybe there's a hierarchy you could represent visually. So again, this will stop you Googling around for images, trolling through ClipUp, because you'll know exactly the type of image you want. And again, it will save you time counterintuitively. So once you've got your script with your aphasia-friendly narration, assuming you're doing a narration style PowerPoint, and you've drafted your storyboard, you can put it all together. Unfortunately, if you are publishing this anywhere kind of more public than a closed Facebook group, we can't just jump on Google and grab the images. We will have to get copyright suitable images. And of course, journals will ask you to confirm that they're all copyright free. So a quick run through of the licenses, which is in more detail in the manual. You can find public domain images. That's ideal because you can do whatever you want with them. Next best thing is Creative Commons. And there's a few different licenses within this, but if it says BY, it means you must say that you got the image from that person and a link. And you can do it at the end of your abstract, but you have to include that. If it says ND, it means you can't modify that image more than, say, cropping it. If it says share alike, it means whatever you're producing has to use the same Creative Commons license. So if the journal's wanting to copyright your video abstract, you can't use one that says share alike, because that's then a different license. And you can't use any images that say non-commercial. Oh, sorry, you can use any images that say non-commercial, because you're not going to make any money off our video abstract. Anything that says royalty-free is a trap. They're not free. You have to pay. They're not, I don't know why they're called that, but it means you don't have to continually pay for every use, but you still have to pay. And some people think if there's no mention of copyright, that's copyright free. That's typically not the case. Copyright is automatic in most countries. And so you'd have to ask the author specifically. So there's a few pitfalls there. We do have a list in that resource of sources for public domain and Creative Commons images, because this can be quite a difficult part of the process, is finding images that represent what you're talking about. This is, I'll briefly show you a trick in PowerPoint. Reshare my screen to animate without knowing how to animate. So if you have a slide like this, you can duplicate it. And then you can change different aspects of the item. So you might change the size, the location, or the color of things. So then between those two slides, if you go up to transitions and choose morph, you'll see that it automatically transitions things. Because they're duplicated, it knows that this item here is the same as this item here, and it works out what do the in-between frames look like. So that's a really useful feature. I'm hoping people were able to see that when I did it. And then the last kind of production step is recording the narration. Ideally, you have like a fancy pants external microphone that you can set up and plug into your computer. If not, headset microphones do a pretty good job as long as they're not too close to your mouth. If you don't have any of that, you can get a passable result with one like I've got now, where the microphone's built into the headphones cord. But if you've only got the microphone on your laptop, I mean, I wouldn't recommend that. It's going to be very echoey because your voice is bouncing off the keyboard and the screen, and it's going to be quite jarring for people with aphasia. Great little trick I learned, because I'm not an audio guru, is to take your microphone and put it somewhere very soft and cushy, so you can kind of kneel at your couch and have the cushions around. You can do it in your wardrobe even. And this actually makes a stunning amount of difference. Like, it sounds so much better when you reduce that even subtle reverb from your recordings. So really recommend doing that for a better sound quality. And probably most academics know about these, but the options are Camtasia if you have a license, or as I think we saw Annalisa do, you can enter a Zoom meeting and record yourself, and probably Teams as well. And PowerPoint has a built-in recording function, and that's getting better and better. Yeah. And finally, submitting, assuming you are submitting to a journal and not just sharing it. The submission requirements vary with journals in terms of format and length and that kind of thing, so you want to check that first. A lot of the time, even though their website says, yes, we love video abstracts, we accept them, when you actually want to submit one, they kind of don't necessarily know what to do or where to put it, so be expecting that. You typically submit these after they've accepted the manuscript. You don't submit it at the same time for most journals. And in a weird loophole, they're often not peer reviewed. You could almost submit anything, but hopefully that improves over time and they check the content of them. If you're submitting to a journal, it often requires signing over your rights to them. So another method could be to host it yourself and then ask them to it. Various journals will do that or not. And then, of course, you can share the video. And both the research and our experience is that having a video really kind of broadens the audience of who looks at your research. It's not necessarily that people who are in your topic area are going to read it more than they would have anyway. It's a broader audience. Even people who are not in aphasia have been looking at some of my research because of the video. So that's the package we've got. As I say, it's available on the CATS website, and it's completely free, of course, because it was funded by the Tavistock Trust and supported by CATS. Now over to Emma to talk about some research that came out of these projects.
Thanks, John, and hi, everyone. So John's actually going to be sharing the slides for me this morning because I'm having some tech issues. There's a reason why you shouldn't buy a new phone that's 7 versions better than your old one. Yeah, I'm a bit of a technological laggard, as you'll see with the video that I'm going to show you. So as John and Annalisa mentioned, as a CATS dissemination team, we ran a collaboration, I guess a collaborative project with Aphasia Recovery Connection. And next slide, John. If it works. Yeah. And so it's essentially all about what makes a good aphasia research video. And it was really pulling together, I guess, the work that we were doing as a dissemination team, but actually wanting to disseminate those findings. So I'll go through it in a bit more detail over the next few slides. And next slide, John. And as Annalisa has actually already shown this slide, we have quite a large team that was really a collaboration between the CATS dissemination team and Aphasia Recovery Connection. So probably everybody looks very familiar to you here. So next slide, John. Yep. And if you're keen, this morning or this evening for you guys, we'll just do a super brief overview of the project, but we do have a journal article that was published a few months ago now that goes into a lot more details in terms of the methodology and the actual results if you're keen to know more. And next one, yep. So as a bit of a background to this project, as Annalisa touched on earlier in this presentation, there's an amazing amount of aphasia research. It's an awesome field to work in. But we do have the issue where a lot of the amazing research that's happening can't actually be accessed by people with aphasia and their families to help them guide healthcare decisions about the care and the treatments they receive. And that a lot of this is because we publish in academic journals, which are both, I guess, physically inaccessible to people with aphasia, just in terms of not actually having access to the journal through subscriptions, but also in terms of the language that we use. So as a dissemination team, it would have been, it's a couple of years ago now, we started an initiative with Aphasia Recovery Connection, where we started tapping aphasia researchers, or really actually sending emails, quite a few emails, to aphasia researchers asking people to make videos for us about their work for people with aphasia and their families. So quite possibly you guys online have actually received emails from us. And once we got underway with this project, and then we realized we didn't actually know what people with aphasia wanted in terms of how the videos were constructed. What features did they want? So we know that there's, again, I guess, guidelines out there for aphasia-friendly written material and graphics and websites, but there's nothing really about videos. So we met with members of Aphasia Recovery Connection. It was actually, John, if I've got this right, about 2 Christmases ago, I think we had a session.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Close to Christmas, yeah.
Yeah. And we had a session where we essentially asked people with aphasia who were part of, it was a virtual connections session, I think, for Aphasia Recovery Connection, about the features of aphasia videos that they liked. And we thought it was such an amazing session that we wanted to then share it further. But because it wasn't done in, I guess, the style of a research project, we thought we actually needed to go back to the start and create it as a research project so we could then properly evaluate it and share it. And that's really how this project started. So we wanted to know, essentially, what are the preferences of people with aphasia? for aphasia friendly videos. So next slide, John. Yeah, awesome. So again, this is a super quick overview. What we did was a multi-stage project involving focus groups. And so we did a lot of descriptive analysis and some qualitative content analysis as well. And with the people with aphasia, they were from the United States, United Kingdom, Ireland, Canada, and Australia. So we did stick to English speaking people with aphasia for the project because we thought it was essentially easier at this, I guess, early stage rather than working out how to do the project in multiple languages. We were also really keen for it to be a very collaborative project. So in stage 1, we asked groups of people with aphasia, what questions should we ask? So we asked people with aphasia to vote, should we ask about keywords? Should we ask about what type of images are good? And questions that received more than 75% or higher ratings, we then took into stage 2. So during stage 2, we asked those questions to people with aphasia. So they watched some different styles of videos. So an interview, a recorded narration, PowerPoint presentation, and we asked, what talking speed is good? So, slow, normal, fast. What images do you like in terms of icons, symbols, photos? And again, people with aphasia voted. We then, for stage 3, took all the votes and developed a set of 11 recommendations, and John made an exemplar video that we then showed in the final focus groups and asked people with aphasia, did they agree with the findings, the recommendations, and also what did they think of the video. And then next slide, John. Yep, so this is where, so what we did was then as, a final part of the study, in addition to the journal article, I did, a video recording with Kathy Austin, who's a speech pathologist and person with aphasia in the United States. And so as John mentioned earlier, in terms of the preferred format, people with aphasia in our project really liked having a person with aphasia involved in the video. So that's why for this, dissemination recommendation video, we've gone for an interview style. And to give you a bit more information, so it was recorded on Microsoft Teams. And while we did script questions, the actual video ended up going for 29 minutes. So one of our recommendations was that videos need to be between 5 and 10. So an awful lot of editing has happened. So it's a little bit clunky. It's not as amazing as John's presentation, but we'll see how we go. This also hasn't been released. So you guys are some of the first people to see it. So please excuse my editing skills or lack of. So
Shall I try and run it, or do you want to?
Well, what do you think, John? Should I
If you've got it right there,
give it a go?
I'll open it too, just in case.
Yeah, okay, I'll give it a go. So if
Not
it
gonna
doesn't
let me
work for
sign.
me, okay, let's just hang on. Oh, hang on. Actually, it says I can't share while someone else is sharing. Sorry, John. Are you? Oh,
Yeah.
yep. Let's see. So I have ticked share sound. So let me know if you can't hear this.
Emma, I'm a speech
That's
pathologist
good.
in Queensland, Australia, and an aphasia researcher. So I've been a speech pathologist for 20 years now. And with me is Kathy Austin. Hi, Kathy. And
Hello.
she is also a speech language pathologist, but she beats me. She's been a speech language pathologist now for 23 years and is based in New Hampshire in the United States. Kathy also had a stroke 4 years ago and had aphasia and apraxia of speech. So Kathy, thank you so much for talking with me today.
Great.
Today we're going to have a chat about a project that we've run looking at aphasia videos, and it's an international project. It's a collaboration between CATS, which is a group of aphasia researchers, and Aphasia Recovery Connection. So this project is all about what makes a good aphasia research video. And now, Kathy, you might recognize some of the team here. So this is our research team, and we come from Australia, the United Kingdom, the United States, Cyprus, Portugal, Germany. So more and more aphasia researchers are making videos about their aphasia research for people with aphasia and their families. But we don't know what people with aphasia think makes a good video. We don't know, say, what talking speed to use, what images to use. So
Right.
this project is all about finding out, what do people with aphasia want? What are the features that they want in videos?
Mhm.
So it's all about what makes a good aphasia research video. Our study had 3 stages. So in stage 1, we asked people with aphasia, what questions should we ask?
Mhm.
Then in stage 2, we asked people with aphasia those questions. So for example, we said, what talking speed is good? So slow,
Slow down.
slow.
Slow down.
Yeah, so is it slow talking speed? Again, what images? How long should the videos be?
Yes.
And we did this with people around the world, people with aphasia around the world. And then for stage 3, we took all people's votes and we made some recommendations. So we said aphasia videos for people with aphasia and their families should have these 11 features. And we also made a test video. So John made that video and showed it to some people with aphasia and said, what do you think? Is this a good video? Yeah,
Right.
we've got 11 recommendations. So we'll go through them now. The first one was speak with a normal rate. So people with aphasia said normal conversation is good. Not too fast, not too slow. What do you think, Kathy?
Slow down.
So you think slow is probably a bit
Right.
better. Yeah. But definitely not fast.
No.
No. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Our second recommendation was to tailor the video duration to the content. So people thought the length of the video should depend on what it's about. So if it's something really simple, maybe a short video.
Yes.
If it's something, yeah, you think that's good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if it's really complicated, to make it a longer video.
No.
No. You think
No.
short, always short.
Right. Short.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you know.
Short and sweet.
Right.
Yeah. And it was interesting. The most popular time was about 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
What do you think? So you think that's about the right length?
Right.
Then the third recommendation was to include photos of the researchers at the start.
Pictures.
Yeah.
Pictures.
Pictures of all the researchers.
Yeah. Pictures is fine.
Yeah, so pictures are good. And then you know who did the research. They also said include a person with aphasia in the video.
What's the name?
Is it
David
David
Dower.
Richards.
Yes, but well, there's a woman.
Oh, yes.
I forgot it.
Oh, Linda Worrell. Yes, Worrell.
Worrell.
Yes, that's Linda. Yeah, Professor Linda Worrell. And people with aphasia said they had no preference for who should decide the topic of the video. Some people said people with aphasia should decide the topic. Some people said the researchers should, other people said it should be a collaboration, other people said they didn't mind. What do you think?
Collaborate.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Why not?
Exactly. Yeah. And then everyone can work together. Yeah. Then another recommendation was to use keywords that are written. So you have the video with the pictures and the audio, but then to also have some keywords as well to help.
Right. Write it down, circle it or
Yes.
highlight.
Oh, yes. Yeah. So highlight is good.
Right.
People said as well, it's good to use a mix of images. So some photographs, some illustrations, and some symbols. So to mix it up. What do you think, Kathy?
I love photographs.
Yes. No background music.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. People said it was too hard to concentrate if there's background music.
It's too much for me.
Yes.
But I love music, but not today.
Yes. No, fair enough. So music when you're relaxing, but not music when you're trying to concentrate on a video. Then people said that videos should be translated into different languages so people all around the world can find out the information.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, because it makes it more accessible.
Right.
Then the other recommendation was to have a summary at the end so people can take a photo and share it with their families or their friends or remember later.
Yes.
Yeah.
A summary.
Yes. Yeah, that you can just take a photo with.
Excellent.
And then the last recommendation was linked to resources. So people wanted at the end of the video to see where to go to find out more information.
Right. Excellent.
Yeah. So you think that would be helpful?
Yes. But I love resources. Yeah, I'm a speech language pathologist.
Yeah. Yes. And so what we've done is, because one of the recommendations was to have a summary at the end so people can take a photo, we've got a summary here of the 11 recommendations so that people watching this video could then take a photo to look at later. Then at the end, we've got here a QR code. If people wanted to take a photo and then go look, we've got a YouTube channel that has other videos about aphasia as part of this project. So people can take a photo, go check it out and watch some more videos about aphasia. And I think actually, Kathy, you're in a couple of them.
Right, really?
I think I'll double check with John, but I think you are actually with the earlier stage. Yeah. 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 Thank you so much, Kathy, for being part of this. And I'd also like to say a huge thank you to all the people with aphasia.
I'll stop sharing there. There's a little bit more. John, do you want to go back? Yeah, awesome. Thanks, John. So here again, this is the same slide that was in the video about the final recommendations, and we have this figure as well in the journal article, if anyone's keen, just as a summary. And then next slide, John. Yep, and then back to the QR code, which you guys have seen. So this video isn't currently up there yet, but we'll be down the track. And the idea is not to, I guess, have it hosted by a journal, but just to have it on the YouTube site. I think that's the end now for me. So handing back to you, John.
That is actually the end. I mean, there's so much happening over out of what seems fairly straightforward. And I guess what I learned from that project, Emma, was that, you know, even though we have guidelines for aphasia friendly, it does vary a lot. And it's like, you know, the finding that people wanted normal rate speech, for example, was really surprising. And it certainly wasn't every single participant, but it was the majority. So it's like, yeah, we have these guidelines, but there's so much variation in individual preferences. So really interesting process. So thanks all for your time and attention today. I don't know if we have time for questions, Dave, or
We do. If and just thank you to all our speakers today. I think that's such a practical set of resources and guides that will, I think, have a huge impact on making it as easy as possible for us as researchers to make sure that we're doing this and doing it properly. So really well done and greatly appreciated. Shalise.
Yeah, so I was wondering about, so I've been wanting to put some aphasia videos on my website of the journal articles that we've already published. So what were you saying? So you were saying that you could have the journal publish the video, but if you host it yourself, do you need permission from the journal to host your own video summary?
Only if it's published with the article. Often then you have
Okay.
to sign over permission. But if you make one after the fact, that's your, creation. That's actually
Okay.
yours.
All right.
So
Okay.
you can go for it.
Great. Awesome.
I had another question relating to journals. So I know, John, you were mentioning that at the moment it's a bit hit and miss as to, you could put up anything, even though, the article goes through peer review, the actual video abstract doesn't. Do you see that there might be a role for CATS or this group in advocating for journals like Aphasiology that should be changed in some way, so that there is more of a actual consideration of the video abstract as a key component of the paper, of the submission?
Look, that could be worthwhile, and particularly I wonder if part of that, what we advocate for, is a review of how aphasia friendly it is as an additional step. But
Yes.
it does vary on the journal. Some of them do review the video as peer review, but surprisingly so many don't. So I assume that changes as it become more common, but it's considered kind of just a publicity thing. It's not considered, I think, a core part of the project. Whereas in theory, you could put anything out there. So I think that would be a really great thing for CATS to do.
Excellent. Suzanne.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for your presentations today. I wasn't really sure what I was coming to see today, so it was really nice to see how to do these videos. I've got two questions. One was around captioning and whether captioning came up in that research at all. And the other one was around accent. I mean, obviously, when you work outside of your accent, even if you are working in an English community, that influences whether someone can understand you or not. Did either of those issues come up?
Do you want me to talk about captioning?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it did come up actually, and I'm pretty sure it was our first ever focus group in the first stage about what questions should we ask, and it was actually really interesting about captioning, in that some people with aphasia thought captioning was excellent, and other people said it was actually a bit distressing, because if they had reading comprehension issues, which was one of the things that actually floored us a bit, didn't occur to us, that some people with aphasia said if they had reading comprehension issues because of their aphasia, it actually reminded them of what they'd lost. So that was very, I guess, individual in terms of whether captioning was helpful or not. And it was interesting actually that key words went through, but captioning for some people was seen as, excellent, please include it. And some people actually said it was like getting extra therapy in terms of watching a video with captions, but other people said it was quite distressing.
Yeah, so in older videos that I've done, I kind of hard-coded the captions so that they appear as part of the presentation. In retrospect, it's probably better to have them on a platform like YouTube where they can be turned on and off of an individual preference, whereas the way I've done it, unfortunately, you can't hide them, you can't alter them. Because I did that thinking, oh, well, people may not know how to turn the captions on. This will make it so they're visible. And of course, having them there will be helpful. But yeah, for some people, it's like, but you know, I don't want to see that. As for accents,
That's so interesting.
yeah,
We were surprised
Yeah.
actually. It wasn't what we
counterintuitive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every time you think you know something, it's
Mm-mm.
I do wonder, I mean, it's quite a small sample that you had in the study.
Yeah.
I'd be interested if with a larger sample you got the same finding, but also wondering whether just having a captioning instruction slide in every presentation could, you know, how do you turn on the captions in YouTube? Could be useful.
Yep.
Actually, I wonder
Anyway,
even
sorry,
is that-
accent.
Oh, sorry, Suzanne. I wonder
The other part of my question was accent, sorry.
Yeah, actually, sorry, going back to your first part of your question, I wonder, Annalisa, is that something that we could include on the Aphasia Answers YouTube site about how to turn captions on and off? Is there a way to
Yeah, I think.
have info?
Do you mean on the ARC page, or do you mean on the so the Aphasia Answers that channel? I think we probably have to do a little. Do you mean do a little video on it, or do you mean have instructions on the page itself?
Either. Whether we could do.
Yeah, I think we could have instructions on the page. Actually, that might be good, because that is, I think the viewers are more people of the aphasia and their family. So I think if we do have instructions on how to turn captioning on, that could be really useful. Possibly in the description or something. Yeah. That's
regarding
a good idea.
accent, Suzanne, it didn't come up as a question that in round one that people wanted to have asked. That also didn't seem to be a major barrier. Occasionally they would say, what, and get us to say it again. That said, I mean, Emma, you were kind of running most of those rounds, and we have obviously an English world accent, and not an accent from, you know, someone who English is not their first language. So I guess it's an unknown. Like, it didn't seem to be a major barrier, but we didn't explore accent beyond kind of mainstream Western world accents, so to speak, in terms of English.
Yeah, and the people with aphasia, I remember there was a particular group that was predominantly, I think it was Irish and the United Kingdom, and they did have a bit of a laugh about my accent at the start, because it was also, I think, fairly late in the night in Australia and early morning there, but it was more just they thought it was funny, but not an issue. So yeah, but it would be
Australian accents, we're here to entertain. So yeah, interesting question though.
Yeah, it is. So
And
make you think more.
we absolutely would love to see this work replicated again and compare the results, because it is, as you say, a larger sample size would be interesting.
On a related note, have you thought about translations into other languages and how that would work, or how that could be done easily?
Yeah,
it's a hard one.
Yeah.
They all said it would be great, and I think everyone agrees it would be great, but is it practical? I mean, I can't see that it could be automated, because it has to be aphasia friendly, right? And it's high level concepts into simple language. Therefore, you're going to probably need to pay, or at least have someone who's very fluent. So, you know, it was a preference, but in practical terms, like, it's difficult, would be my answer. Would you agree, Emma? Or?
Yeah, I think so. We actually, back when we first were talking about making it a research project, there were plans to do it in multiple languages and have multiple focus groups for every stage across the world. And then we realized that that was actually going to be really complex in terms of, I guess, translation of the entire project, but also actually analysis of the findings and of the transcripts. And it could only really be based, the languages that we did could only really be based on the research team, I guess, the team's skills in terms of language. And so that's why we ended up going for English. But I do wonder whether there could be some sort of translation of the video. But again, as John said, it would need to be with someone who was a native speaker.
And worth pointing out, Annalise, I think this is right, that there's aphasia-friendly videos in other languages besides English on the channel. Is that still correct? Or do
Yeah,
they?
so so on the in terms of the aphasia awareness videos and what is aphasia, we do have some from we try to get aphasia videos from people with aphasia across different countries and different languages. Obviously it's not that many, but we do have some. We did try and reach out to SLTs, and even in relation to what Emma was saying earlier, I think within our dissemination team itself, you know, there are, like, we do have team members from other countries where English, you know, the English accent is quite different, and English isn't necessarily the first language. And so I think one of the things is that we would consider exploring this, but yes, for practical reasons at this point, we haven't been able to do that. But hopefully, because we're also conscious that our current sample, in addition to being small, is from the English Western accented kind of world.
Yep.
So it doesn't cover every, you know, all English accents as well.
Yeah, but not regardless, really important first step.
Yeah.
So I think we might have to wrap up there to keep on time, but I just wanted to thank you guys again for an amazing series of projects and some great resources that will help aphasia researchers and improve the experience so that people with aphasia are included in this process. I think it's really valuable. So thanks for all your work, and thanks everyone for attending, and please let people know. So clearly it's always a juggle finding any time in the world that suits everyone. But the recording will be up online, and yeah, if you can encourage people to have a look at the recording, that'd be great. Thank you again, and have a great evening or day.
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks all.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Merry
Bye.
Christmas.
Thank you.
Bye.
Christmas.
Merry
Christmas.